represent Vector. This is actually my 8th division meeting to 7th division meeting to attend. And each year, content's never stale. It's always exciting to see new young people that I know at some point in time are going to win some trophies, do some exciting things. And then, 2 or 3 months from now, we'll be at an end of a summer conference probably, and you guys, it'll be like you guys are smooth, polished professionals, and it's pretty exciting. So it's an honor to have you guys here. If it's your first one, cool. If it's your 100th one, glad you're here as well. So let's recap a little bit. So anybody have a big takeaway from the first talk today? Cutting food. The one about cutting food and doing a proper demo. Somebody raise their hand. Okay, cool. Patrick, what's your favorite? What was your number one thing?
The number one thing was offering that incentive to buy now.
Okay, cool. It's the buy now bonus, not the buy later or buy later today when you talk to your husband bonus. No, it's buy now. Yes, very, very good. What about talk 2? Have the ability to change their lives, right? That Ethan Campbell really, really made it. One thing that I heard somebody explain to me when I was a young rep was every time, long after you've spent the money that you earned selling the knives, that thing they bought from you is still going to be the centerpiece of every single family occasion. Every time they reach for a knife, they're going to think of a quality product, quality individual, as well as quality service. 15 years down the road when they have to send it back in, they're going to appreciate you, whether it was somebody else, whether you sold one knife in the last 12 days or you sold a bajillion knives. I'm glad you're here. And then Hannah, she gave you a foolproof plan to do some pretty exciting things during the push week. So that is exciting. So let's talk about some action steps. Next slide. Cool. So make a schedule. Okay. Meet with your manager. If you haven't already met with your manager, that's number 1. Jot that down. Nobody's hands are moving. So jot that down. Meet with your manager. Make a schedule. And in that schedule, you should put in your office's alliance activities. Okay? You've learned a lot today. It's kind of like your first day of college. You're not going to be good at college algebra tomorrow. Okay? So you're going to have to learn these things. Managers, put it in your schedule that you're going to go over the things Damien covered today, the things Ethan covered today. Hannah, we've actually, a lot of the stuff that Damien spoke about today, we've actually got new versions of the manual with a lot of those things already put in it that we'll be passing out. So the things where you talk about the double edge, the wedge lock handle, where the rivets are foamed, some of those things that Damien covered today that weren't in your manual are now being printed in there. So a round of applause for the division. Thank you very much. Attend your Sunday call days. Do not miss those. Okay? It's really funny. Every year after a push week, people talk about how so-and-so got lucky. But so-and-so always usually made the most calls too. So it's kind of easy to be lucky when you've got a lot of calls. And sign up for SC1. Okay, jot that down. Sign up for SC1. And the last but not least one, do 40 demos. Okay? If you sit down to do phone time and you tell yourself, I'm going to book 10 demos during this phone time, you're setting yourself up for failure. You can't control whether people pick up the phone or not. What you can do is sit down and say, hey, I'm going to make 20 phone calls. You don't know who's going to buy something. Theoretically, you could go 0 for 39, and on your 40th demo, they can sell it to buy 10 grand. Or you can go 0 for 20, and then everybody parcels up the other 20. It doesn't matter. But if you do 40 demos, you're going to sell $10,000. Okay? Do 40 demos. And trust the process. Do these things over the next 16 days. Next slide. That will be you. Okay? You're helping your customers out. Maybe I'll try that again. That'll be you! Woohoo! Awesome. And then if you've got great genes, go to the next one. You'll also have a really cute baby. Yeah, I know. Think about it, Just kidding. All right, next one for me. So the battlefield of the mind. mind, jot that down. Thank you, Nick. Is there an echo in here? Just kidding. Push weeks are the opportunity not just for you to sell more Cutco, but they're the opportunity for you to stretch yourself. Become somebody that you never thought you could be. I'm going into my 7th or 8th, whichever one it is, push weeks. And I make it very intentional that after the push week, I want to have a new wrinkle or a new fold of what I try to accomplish. 3 years ago, 2017, the wrinkle that I caught from that one was getting up early. And then for about 2 years straight, I got up at 4:30 a.m. every morning. I never complained about it. Now, the 17 days were pretty hard, but it made me a better person. So whatever you want to improve in, focus on the next 15, 17 days, whatever it may be. Mentally decide that you're going to go out there and you're going to grow. Push is more mental than anything. And I don't mean this to be cliche. I used to think this type of stuff was cliche and cheesy and all that type of stuff. But then I realized all the people that I wanted to emulate, whether it's financially, personally, relationally, have a family like somebody else, took these things to heart. So maybe it's not a cliche. Maybe it's just a clue that successful people leave around. I love studying great winners. I grew up, played football. I played football in college, wrestled in high school. I love competition. And I love studying people that are very, very good at what they do. And one of the greatest things that I think Vector ever taught me was how to mentally decide to do something, okay? You can take the 114-degree heat for 2 days in Lubbock, Texas at Texas Tech University, and I think what I've accomplished in a push week left me mentally stronger than every day that I vomited at Jones AT&T Stadium. And I don't say that, like I said, to be cliche. That is the honest truth. I've learned more in life in the last 6 years selling knives than I did in college football and, debate team, all those types of things, okay? And I slowly started to realize that there was a common, reoccurring theme of all this positive talk, okay? First things first, let's define something. What's it? It's a decision. When you decide to do something, a determination arrived after consideration. What have you considered? What you want to accomplish? How much you want to make? What you're trying to get out of this? And the act or process of deciding. The moment of decision has come. Coming to a conclusion. Raise your hand if in the last 4 hours you've concluded to be successful, at least in the immediate future. Every hand should be up. Good. Nobody's here to fail. Nobody signs up to sell Cutco to fail. Okay? Now we also need to define something else. Next one, please. Let's define push. To exert force, typically with one's hand, in order to move them away from oneself or the origin of the force. And number 2, my favorite, move forward by using force to pass people or cause them to move aside. Your dates. Trust me, your girlfriend or boyfriend can wait. They'll like you a lot more when you have a lot of money in your pocket. Okay? Mom and Dad, I gotta take the trash out. Cool, I'll take it out at 8 a.m. I got stuff to do the rest of the day. You can fit all of this stuff together, but you have to move it to where the stuff is advantageous for you. There's very, very unique times to make phone calls where more people are gonna pick up than others. So why am I gonna take the trash out during that period of time? I've got 24 hours to do that. I got about 4 hours a day for efficient phone time. Okay? Oh, my dad wants me to mow the grass. Cool, Dad, I'll mow it tonight. I'll mow it tomorrow. Can you give me 15 days? I'll mow it then. I've got a plan. I want to do it. And you're either with me or you're hampering me. Obviously, you don't start a fight with your parents, but tell them, hey, your parents will respect you. Trust me. They're going to say, I don't think anyone in here that's been through a push weeks, I don't think anyone's parents were like, you know what? God, I'm so embarrassed that you've got like standards and goals and things. What type of son or daughter are you? No parents ever said that to anybody. Next, please. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Every single person in this room is going to feel one of those things in the next 15 days. The difference is, go back one, please. The difference is, pain from discipline is only temporary. It's replaced by the excitement of winning. No fatigue felt on the day of victory. And the pain and regret sticks around forever. When I think about the pain and regret, I think about when I got kicked out of my college and kicked off my college football team. Not a lot of people know this. Me and my friends got a really, really bright idea to have a giant college party, like 3 days in a row. And I was too prideful to say, you know what, I screwed up. And I said, you know what, screw you. You guys need me more than I need you, which was wrong. I needed them. And I lived with that for the literal rest of my life. I wish I could go back and change it, but I can't. So we move forward, right? Now, when I first moved to San Antonio, I was terrified. I was moving a business that I had built for 4 years. I was moving a town that I had lived in for 27 years, 26 years. I was moving to an area where there was no active office, and I had just found out that I was going to be a father. It was going to take a lot of money to move there and a lot of money to start a business. And I was terrified. And raise your hand if you've ever heard of T.D. Jakes, the Reverend T.D. Jakes. Reverend Drip, as he likes to be called, right? I was listening to a sermon of his in the car one time, and he talked about how every great leader, every great champion, every great person that's ever won anything in their life has felt doubt. The ones that don't deal with it, you don't know their names because they never did anything great. The ones that overcome it are the people that you know about. So, and it comes across all walks of life. And let's get back to that reoccurring theme. Next slide, please. Muhammad Ali, one of my favorite people. The right-hand side. I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit, suffer now, and live the rest of life as a champion. He started that fight as a 13-5 underdog. People said he was crazy for taking the fight with Sonny Liston. They said he's too big, he's too strong, there's nothing you can do about it, you're a skinny, skinny guy, and you can't fight this guy. Muhammad Ali knocked him out in the first round. Knocked him down 3 times. Sonny Liston had such little respect for Muhammad Ali that he wouldn't even call him Muhammad Ali, he would only call him Cassius, which was offensive to him. And in that picture right there, a lot of these reporters have written memoirs about it. All he's yelling is, what's my name, what's my name, what's my name? It's kind of hard to talk when you're unconscious, right? But think about it. It's in the mind, the battlefield of the mind. Next slide, please. George Patton, the commander of the 7th Army in World War II. Famous quote, accept challenges so that you may feel the exhilaration of victory. If I win, I can't be stopped. If I lose, I'm dead. Accept the challenges so that you can feel the exhilaration of victory. Must have put that one up there twice. Whoops. But think about it. 2 completely separate occupations. It all started with the mind, choosing to be successful. Next slide, please. Mark Cuban. There are no shortcuts. You can't skip out on your phone calls. You can't skip out on team meetings. You can't skip out on the lines. There are no shortcuts. You have to work hard and you have to try to put yourself in a position where if luck strikes, you can see the opportunity and take advantage of it. Are you guys noticing a theme here? It all starts between your ears. Work like there's somebody working 24 hours a day to take it all away from you. Think about it. Starts up here. Some of you guys out there may be parents. Ever since I've been a dad, I feel myself winding down in the office. Times where I would normally go home 2 years ago. And I realized I can't go home, I got a mouth to feed. I got stuff I have to do, and that's a decision I make. Next slide, please. So we've done the fight, the boxer, the general, the entrepreneur, now the freedom fighter. All mental. When people are determined, they can overcome anything. Oh man, Will, no one's answering the phone. Oh Will, man, I can't get Rex. Oh Will, man, I can't close big sets. Yes, you can. Find a way. If you want it bad enough, you'll find a way. Conrad Small last year worked for me in Lubbock. He went 0 for 5 his first weekend. He was a fry cook at Whataburger. He worked all night Fridays, all night Saturdays. Keep in mind, during the fall, it was directly after a college football or a high school football game. Comes to my office, goes 0 for 5. Comes to advanced training, goes, you know what? I don't really think this is for me. I said, you know what? I don't really know if it's for you either. You haven't done anything anyone asked you to. I said, give me 2 weeks. Do everything I said annoyingly, asininely to the T, and then tell me that this isn't for you. Long story short, Conrad sold $84,000 last summer, made about 30 grand last summer. Won a scholarship, runs the office now, because he chose to not be a fry cook. Once again, he chose. Next slide, please. Mike Tyson's one of my favorite athletes of all time. He gets a bad rap. People know him as the guy that bit the ear off and the guy that is in the Hangover movies. You guys realize Mike Tyson went 33 fights without ever leaving the first round. He won the title by knocking out the guy that knocked out Muhammad Ali, got a pep talk in the back, and he told Muhammad Ali, so you don't have to give me a pep talk. I've already visualized this guy beating me for 6 months now, and it terrifies me and I refuse to lose. He said, this guy's beaten me 100 times in my dreams. Read it. Nobody wants to get up at 4 a.m. and run when it's pitch dark, but it has to be done, and the only reason I do it so early is because I believe that the other guy isn't doing it, and it gives me an edge. The person that makes the most phone calls, the person that does the most demos, is the person that's going to be successful. Fear. It's just like fire. It can be helpful, and if you know not to use it, if you need to know how to use it, if not, you'll get burned. Fear can make you or it can break you, but you're always getting better. You might go out and attempt to sell $10,000 and fall short, but maybe you sell $8,000, you start at $2,000. You just quadrupled your career sales. That's still a win. That is still a win. So, I have reached out to a lot of old reps, and I wanted to talk to them and see what they had to say about their experiences. These reps are from 4 or 5 years. Can we go to the next slide, please? These are people that felt the pain of regret. Next slide. Top one. So when I didn't hit my push goal, I was disappointed that I didn't make the goal that I had set, but I was still determined because of how hard I worked at it, and sometimes it just didn't go the way I wanted it to. Because I understood that things didn't go the way I wanted them to, I knew I could do better. So I talked to my boss and he told me the numbers to equal a positive outcome. In other words, the more people I call, the more demos I get, and the more demos I get, the more sales I get, which helps me achieve a goal. So the next push, I set an even higher goal and chased that even higher. When I didn't hit my goal, it honestly tore me up. Prior to the time I didn't hit my push goal, I was always crushing all my goals. Not just meeting the goal, but blowing out of the water. So it hurt a lot when I finally didn't hit my goal. I was pissed at myself for not trying harder. Kept asking myself what I should have done better. Brain of regret, right? Kept asking why I failed, but then once I calmed down and cleared my mind, I realized that it's the failures that are going to teach me all the successes. After that failure to hit my goal, I dialed it back, strengthened where I was weak, and overall got better at sales and meeting myself. The far right person, the one on the far right, worked for me for quite a bit of time. The only regret I ever have working with Petco is not taking full advantage of push weeks. I never made the tropical trips, I never made the boat, and I never made as much money as I could have. Every time I heard a great story about a boat or a trip, I knew that I wanted to be included on the next one. I knew how to set goals. Hell, I trained reps better than me on how to set goals and share them. But I was also rarely able to follow through on my own push goals. I would overthink things, get distracted, buy a new product, new technique, rather than sticking to the basics and booking demos. The middle one's a little long. I'm not going to read through it, but you should glance through it. It talks about how the most important values in our company is learning how to respect yourself. When you set goals, and you don't attempt, it's okay to set a goal and attack it and don't get there. That's okay. But setting a goal and quitting is never okay. Next slide, please. These are the good ones. These are some of the same people, some of the different ones. We can go to the next one. When I did hit my goals, it was just absolute pride. I felt like by respecting myself and my goals, I was truly honoring my value. My value as a manager, role model, someone's Cutco rep woman in a then male-dominated division, and just as an individual in general. And as a result, I felt it was easier for others to see and honor that value as well. Although I have experienced high achievement in the music and academic sectors of my life, and of course, my work now is incredibly rewarding, I still view Cutco, a lot of my Cutco wins, as some of the greatest accomplishments because of this sense of self-respect that I was able to find through them. When I think of other achievements in other parts of my life, they were about the music or the GPA or client's progress, but Vector, it wasn't about the knives. That was all an allegory. Over here, where is that? When I hit my push goal, it felt like the biggest relief, adrenaline rush that I'd ever had. The push was something I never thought I'd be able to hit. It was something I looked at, put in the effort, and the results would come. The last push I participated in was by far the best feeling in the world. Because of how much harder I had to work at the end of the push, I was so far behind because of some personal obstacles. In the last 4 days, I was able to sell $13,000 to put me over the goal. The release of energy that you get when all your hard work and grinding pays off is the best feeling I've ever asked for. Let me read that again. The release of energy that you get when all your hard work and grinding pays off is the best feeling I could have ever asked for. This person has won championships in college baseball. And he ranks this higher than that. I was able to pay for a semester of college, and it taught me to have faith and discipline that I use every day to go further in my career. The feeling of sitting in an awards banquet, getting recognized for the work that you put in and around others, to know exactly what it was like to put in the effort and succeed is the best feeling in the world. We talked about Riley Lucanville in his big order the other day. Now, the times I did hit my goal, let me tell you, I felt like a freaking rock star. I can hear him saying that right now, and I'm sure Stacy and Damon can hear him saying it right now. By the far the best feeling I had was when I had a $20,000 push goal. Halfway through that push, I had sold something like $2,400 on 55 demos. 55 demos. Every day he showed up to the office. Today's my big sales day. And the first couple days I was like, hell yeah, man. On the fourth day I was like, yeah, I'm so sure, dude. I was even losing doubt. Halfway through the push, definitely not on track. Instead of giving up or changing my goal, I focused more, started grinding harder, doing more demos, making even more calls. Ended up selling over $25,000 for the contest. Hitting my goals was an amazing feeling. But hitting a goal that no one thought I could hit, especially when you had a really big wall to start, best feeling of my life. Something that's exciting about that, we talk about, go back to your first names list. You want to know who that big order was from? His mom's best friend, who she forgot to refer him to. Literally, they were in each other's wedding, all sorts of stuff. She just forgot to refer him. And this last one on the bottom left is actually really exciting. Some of you guys might be thinking here, because I remember thinking stuff like this, man, I don't really know if I know enough people that are somewhere in the income bracket to help me towards my goals. We've all felt that. I understand. This gentleman in the bottom left might be the single most underprivileged rep that's ever worked for me. And that's no exaggeration. Single most underprivileged rep. When I reached my goals for the push, I was so relieved and happy that I was able to do it. However, I reached my goals so quickly, about halfway through the push, I decided to double my goal. It was at about $6,000 when this push started. I came within $2,000 of doubling my original goal and was beyond proud and excited. Doing something I had never done before and being recognized and rewarded for it was an incredible feeling. I tried so hard and was so diligent that I worked so that I could reach a goal. And to think that I had learned from succeeding was that when I hit my goal, I didn't stop, I only doubled it. So once you get going, go the extra mile. And the philosophy is why I tripled my career sales that summer in just 2 weeks. Hit a $22,000 push. Single most underprivileged rep on a financial standpoint that's ever been in my office ever. So, hopefully, you hear some of these things and you decide which side of that age-old question you want to be on. Are you going to say, man, COVID's the reason I didn't hit the push goal? Wrong. You're the reason. Trust the process. Trust the process. Next slide, please. What do you get out of it? You create a new skill. And what is that skill? Choosing to succeed. That's a skill. I always knew it, I could conceptualize it, but it wasn't until summer 2017 that I learned how to say, okay, I'm going to do this. Guess how I learned it? Doing a push week. It's the first time my office ever sold $100,000 in a push. Next year doesn't count, had some personal things going on. Year after that, we did $130,000 in 18 days. Very, very exciting. Create a new skill. What's that skill? Being mentally tougher than your problems and your competition. Mentally tougher. It doesn't matter how strong you are, how other things you accomplished. What's going on between your ears? Are you mentally tough enough to look at a goal and say, hey, I'm going to go do this? Why? Because my future family is going to thank me. When I want to pack it in at work, when you're 45, during the next virus-related recession, are you going to pack it in or are you going to go the extra mile? Developing habits like that start right now. Boy, do I wish I had learned this what I learned in the summer 2017 when I was 18 years old. I didn't start with vectors until I was 22, almost 23. I was one of the people, that was a little older. Man, if I had learned that at 18, life would be a whole lot different. I'm really glad I am where I am, but there's a lot of things I failed at that I wouldn't have failed at because I learned how to decide to do something. Number 2, your resume. Patrick, you sold $10,000 in 2 weeks during the COVID summer while other businesses were tucking their tail between their legs and hiding in the corners saying, oh, when is the economy going to go back? No. You put your nose in the grindstone and you sold $10,000 in 2 weeks. Why? Because you chose to. Not because of anything else. You chose to and you followed the program. Next one. Teach yourself how to become a better rep. Oh no, next point. Please stay here. Teach yourself how to become a better rep. There's about 2 weeks before SC2. You're going to work 1/3 as much as you work during the push week and you're going to sell way more. You want to have the weeks this fall where you do 5 to 10 demos and you get $1,000, $2,000 paycheck and start during the push week. That's not a possibility if you don't do the push week. Not there. And we're not saying you have to sell 10 grand. You're not fired if you don't. But work like you're going to get there. No one's going to be mad at you. I never had a 10 grand push. But I worked as hard as I freaking could and emptied the tank every time. And I'm okay with that. Why? Because I chose to do something and I did it. And the last one is, you teach yourself how to win, which is something that society these days doesn't teach you. Society these days teaches you to be present, to show up. Hey, they giving out participation trophies this week? No, man. You only get trophy if you sell 10 grand. But thanks for coming. Here's what Seed Santa will do. Take that regret with you. Let's talk about hope for a second. Some of you managers are going to giggle at this. Push week is not about hope. Every single rep that has told me, man, I hope to be on that boat, baby. Woohoo! I don't really remember the names. Push week is not about hope. Hope isn't going to help you pay off school. Hope isn't going to win you a scholarship. Hope isn't going to feed anybody. Hope isn't going to put money in your wallet, cars in your driveways, and it's not going to do anything. This is one of the few things where hope doesn't do anything. It's a decision, and the actions are followed by it. Decide right now, before you leave this building, before you touch a piece of pizza, before you do anything, decide right now that SC1 Summer 2020 is going to be the catalyst that changes your business and potentially your life. When I'm 50 years old, 60 years old, and I retire, I will know that summer 2017 is the catalyst that changed my life. And I've written it in journals multiple times. 2017 is the year in the summer that made me. Why? Because I chose to. And you can do it too. Every single person here. Hunters had large pushes. Tons of people that I haven't seen back there, if you've been here, Hannah, we've all had big pushes. But it's because they chose to, and they followed the program. We do the work for you. You just have to be there. Just have to be there. Whether having a successful push is doubling your career sales, selling your first set. I remember before one of my first push weeks, I had never sold anything bigger than a homemaker, and I think I only sold a few of them. But man, I could sell a studio on a 5K. I really could. It doesn't have $80. Maybe that's a winner. It doesn't really matter what you want to accomplish. You can accomplish whatever you want to. Next slide, please. If you take these things and apply it, you can kick SC1 2020 right in the frickin' mouth. But make the decision. Okay, my office will be really good at this. But this is going to require everybody to use their words in a few minutes, okay? My favorite quote of all time, I've got it written on my mirrors at my house. One side of my mirror says, who's better than you? And the other side of my mirror says, nobody. And I read that every morning while I'm brushing my teeth, every time I shave my face. It was the screensaver on my phone for a while when I first moved to San Antonio. What I remember sending Stacy a text, I don't know if I can do this. Man, maybe Victor Rant's course. No, it didn't. I'm here for the long haul. So, before I sign off, next slide, please. When I say who's better than you, everybody respond nobody. Okay? And that's everybody. I want your biggest, proudest, most passionate nobody. Because there's nobody stronger than you when you make the choice to succeed. Who's better than you?
Nobody!
Have a good one. Let's go crush this thing.